Hello, everyone. So as you guys start to join in, you guys can answer this icebreaker question in the chat while we wait for a couple more people to join. Okay, everyone, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Um, so welcome to our college planning monthly meeting, and we're so happy that you were able to join us today. So we're first going to start with a monthly fun fact. So universities nationwide, such as Caltech and Virginia Tech, are using artificial intelligence tools to evaluate applicants, and they're stating that it will make the review process faster, allowing students to hear back a month earlier. Um, I just thought this was really interesting because AI has really started to kind of grow in our community and our ongoing generation. And so a lot of colleges are now starting to use AI to review college applications and stuff. And a lot of parents and people have very different opinions about the use of AI for the review of college applications. So I just thought that was really interesting that colleges are now starting to use AI to review um, applications. So a little bit about me. My name is Gabby, and I've been working with AI Go Learning for about 5 years, and I really just enjoy working with kids, and I'm passionate about teaching. I'm one of the leaders of the CEP program and group, and I was recently accepted into Savannah College of Art and Design, and I want to major in TV, film and television and acting. One of the reasons I wanted to lead or be a part of this program was because I felt like as a high school student, I felt like I wasn't really prepared enough for what college would really like what colleges would really be asking for and kind of the whole college process. And I felt like as a junior, everything was kind of just pushed onto me that I had to take like SATs, I had to do had to get college recommendations and like teacher recommendations and stuff like that. And I felt really stressed. So I felt like if I had really started this process earlier and really started thinking about it earlier, and I would have done so much more and like done things a lot differently, really did a lot more extracurricular activities and stuff like that. Um, and so I hope that through this program, we can help students feel more prepared when they start to apply to colleges so that it's not like they just feel like, oh my gosh, this happened overnight, and that they need to kind of like really hone in on a lot of different things, but can do that throughout the course of multiple years. So here are some of our AiGoLearning students and ooh, sorry, and where they've gone to college. So yeah. So first we have Daniel, who is going to be our guest speaker for today, and we're just going to show you like some of our AR Go Learning leaders and alumni and where they've gone to college. So this is Daniel, and he's going to be speaking today, but he was admitted to New York University. We have Annie Lee, and she was admitted to the University of Texas Austin. We have Stanley, he was admitted to University of Pennsylvania. We have Stephen, Georgia Tech. We have a lot of students or teachers that are part of AiGoLearning who are admitted to a bunch of different schools for a bunch of different majors. And so we're hoping that just as we helped these students to get to the colleges that they really wanted to get to, we hope that we can help you and your children to get to the colleges that they want to get to and hopefully be the strongest applicant that they can be. And so, yeah, these are just some of the students that we have helped and that have been a part of our AiGoLearning team and where they went or been admitted to. Okay. And hopefully all of these students will be able to be part of one of the monthly meetings and be a guest speaker here. So you guys can really hear their experience and kind of their college admission experience and the process that they went through. So now a little bit about Daniel before he speaks. Daniel was one of the founding members of AiGoLearning leadership team. During his time here, he advanced from teaching assistant to lead instructor, and took part in building early teaching systems and helped shape the organization's foundational structure. His sense of responsibility and consistent execution made him one of the most reliable and trusted members of the team. So now we're gonna hear from Daniel and hear his personal college experience.
All right. Thank you, Gabby. And thank you for inviting me here. I think this is great. When I was applying to colleges, which you guys will hear about it in a bit, I did not know what I was doing. Um, it would have been great for me to learn more about what my whole narrative was going to be and how I was going to be applying to colleges back then. But I was kind of winging it. Um, so I think this is great. Anyway, I'm gonna go over my college application experience and my college applications now. College experience now. So when I was in high school, as Gavin mentioned earlier, I graduated NYU Stern. I graduated last year. I studied finance and computer science. If any of you guys end up going to NYU, I highly recommend it. I'm a bit biased, but I think it's a great school. When I was in high school, I'm kind of that student where I did really well in academics. I have a really high GPA, but at the same time, that's practically all I had going. I didn't do any clubs, basically no extracurricular. It's just all academics. Um, the main extracurricular I did was founding AiGoLearning. And that started as a whim, actually. It started from me teaching a coding class at a local Chinese school, and then thinking, well, if I can teach a coding class, and I know so many of my classmates and friends who are much better at coding than me, I'm sure they will love the opportunity to teach the classes as well. And it started from there, and I founded AiGoLearning, and then getting because of virtual classes from COVID, there's a lot of students and student teachers who are interested in doing this program. So fast forward, uh, I was applying to colleges, and a couple of checklists I think Abby will talk about in a bit later about what the college application is going to look like. But GPAs, standardized tests, these things I have it all ready. Like I was great at these. The problem was extracurricular, and when I was applying, because of COVID, I think the number of schools people applied to in general was much larger when I was applying compared to a few years earlier. So I applied to like 20 something schools. I wrote so many essays to the point where I did not want to write anything ever again for like a whole year. Um, and I applied to 20 something computer science schools. And the reason being, I thought, oh, I was doing coding classes, I was teaching coding classes. So that's probably the story I should tell. Like, oh, I'm interested in doing computer science, in teaching, in doing coding. Um, and to be fair, I didn't want to, study computer science later on. And I did major in computer science at NYU as like a second major. But out of these 20 computer science schools, they all rejected me, except for UMich for an arts and science program. So kind of like, yeah, 20 CS schools, they all rejected me. But when I was applying, I also sought to apply to one business school to, diversify my portfolio. If I apply to only CS schools, what if something goes wrong? So I applied to one business schools. And my story there then was just, the whole story of starting AiGoLearning and then building that up. Um, and surprise, that one school I applied to ended up accepting me with, scholarships. So looking back, it kind of made a lot of sense for me to do the whole business school angle. Like if I redo all of this again, I would have applied to a lot more business schools. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that then. I and then I think I got really lucky from that sense. And just being able to know what my position was and how to tell my story better back then would have helped a lot. And so the one big takeaway I got out of all of this is just, how important it is to, for one, do more things outside of school. It's one thing I wish I would have done differently, just do more extracurricular, but also just know the story I want to tell to colleges because of how important your personal narratives, your personal essays are going to be. Just what is the whole story you want to tell? Um, yeah, and about college is great. I mean, if you think college is scary, don't. I love my experience there. If you ever get a chance to study abroad, by the way, do it. Studying abroad is so fun. You get to meet so many people. And then also, talk to your professors. Make sure college professors are not going to be, it's a bit different than high school teachers. And then you can really establish a personal relationship with them later on as well. And, yeah, I have a few professors that I'm really close to even after I graduate. And so, yeah, there's that. That practically wraps up my story. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me towards the end.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Daniel, for sharing your story. I feel like a lot of people can relate, even if they like haven't yet already applied to college or thinking about it, they really don't know where they want to go or their personal narrative. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Okay, so now we're going to continue. And this is kind of the overview of what we're going to be talking about today in this meeting. So today's just going to be kind of like an introductory meeting of kind of what you can expect from CPE. So we're going to briefly kind of talk about the college admission process, what CPE is, and what we hope you can get from it, what you can get from these workshops, our CEP draft plan, our 4-year plan for you, and then we're going to give you a little bit about AiGoLearning at the end, and then save a couple minutes for questions if there are any. Okay. So first we're going to talk about the college admissions process. Obviously, there's a lot more, but these are kind of like the basics. And through each meeting, we're going to kind of talk more about each one. But really, we want to just kind of start give you a little bit of a rundown. So course planning. Picking the courses that you are going to take is really important. So trying to challenge yourself by picking honors classes or AP classes would be really helpful for you because you kind of just diversify the classes that you're taking. And it also allows colleges to see that you're challenging yourself and their growth over time. Um, Even though grades from like freshman and sophomore year are not that important, colleges mostly focus on junior and senior grades, making sure that grades from all 4 years are where you want them to be, as colleges can see all 4-year grades. Test scores. Keep in mind that when taking the SAT and ACT, that some colleges are test optional, so they don't require you to submit test scores. But just making sure that if you are applying to a college that does want you to submit a test score, that you're proud of the score that you're submitting and taking the SAT or ACT as many times as you need. And we'll also go into the differences later on in future meetings on like whether to take the SAT, ACT, and whatnot. But hopefully your school prepares you by having to take the PSAT sophomore year. And then another really important thing are letters of recommendation. Because colleges typically ask for at least 2 letters of recommendation from core subject teachers. So that's like math, language arts, science, um, and American Studies or World History. Or they'll ask you for one from the core subject and one from like a mentor or an elective teacher. So just making sure you kind of build those connections and have someone or people that you can ask for those recommendations to for that. So some more important things are extracurricular. So as Daniel said, your GPA and your grades, so that's great. Your academic portion of your application is great. However, colleges are also looking at a holistic view, which is more so of they're looking at everything. They want to see who you are as a person. So making sure you're getting those extracurriculars by joining clubs, joining things that you're interested in, trying things out, getting a job possibly, um, whatever that may look like to you, but having some sort of extracurricular to kind of show your interest and really making sure that you highlight that in your applications because the application is really the only time that colleges get to see who you are and get to know you. So making sure you really highlight and express yourself and your interest through your application is important. Application fees for applying can range from $50 to $100. However, a lot of colleges have fee waivers, free codes, and so they'll allow you to do like a free application. They also have free application periods of time where they'll say like, oh, from April 1st to April 13th, we're giving you free admission. So you can just like apply during that window. So making sure you look out for those times to apply is really important. And then lastly, demonstrated interest. Demonstrated interest is really just showing they are interested in the college. So that could be joining their mailing list by going to the college website and putting in your information to make an account. And typically something will pop up to join their mailing list if you're not already joined. Going to open houses, going to events, just really kind of keeping up and keeping track of what's going on at the college. Emailing admission advisors, just really getting more information about the college is demonstrated interest. And some colleges will even say that they really prioritize students who have shown demonstrated interest when looking at applications. But again, we'll talk about all of these different things in future meetings. And these are just some application times and application timelines, very general. Obviously, each person is going to have a different experience depending on the college that they're going to, as well as what they want to do. So this is just a general timeline, and each person's experience is going to be different. So now we're going to talk about the holistic review. So again, the holistic review is saying that both academic and non-academic are 50-50% like important. So colleges look at both your academic and non-academic parts of you. So again, they look at you as they're trying to see like the applicant as a whole person, as a whole student. So they're not only looking at your GPA or your test scores, they're looking at the extracurriculars that you've done, the demonstrated interest, your letters of recommendation, your personal essay, and so making sure you really invest that time, not only in academic stuff, but non-academic components to really show your interest and just also be able to express yourself in other ways, making sure you're writing a compelling essay and not just a generic and non-original essay that college and advisors have to read so many essays. They want to see something original. They want to see something that they can see personality through. So making sure you kind of have that original essay will make you stand out more compared to someone else who might have the same grades, the same GPA, the same test scores. That college essay, those extracurriculars can really make you stand out and put you a step above someone else that is in your same on that same level. Making sure you also create strong relationships with teachers for meaningful recommendations later on, and joining clubs, try and get leadership, so you can really add to that resume and really build and have a strong application, but also making sure that you keep in mind your mindset. A lot of times when people are taking honors courses or AP courses, we tend to beat ourselves up when we get a B or a C or a D and stuff like that. But we don't realize that to colleges, taking that AP course is a big and huge step, because an AP course or an IB course is basically taking like a college course and is not meant for high schoolers to take. And it's meant for college students to take. And so just taking that AP course is a huge step up, and being able to see that the colleges see that and see that you're trying and see that growth and will see that B and see that it's more favorable than it's like seen as an A in a regular course, if that makes sense. Just like understanding that you're challenging yourself, so you're not always going to get 100% in those AP courses. So just keeping your mindset open and stuff like that. Some college myths that a lot of people tend to have are that you need a 4.0 GPA to get into a good college, which you don't. A lot of, like I said before, colleges look at a holistic view. And so even if you have a 3.8 GPA, but you have so many extracurriculars, you have you do marching band, you're in swimming, you do sports, you have a really good connection, you're doing a lot in your community, stuff like that. You have a job. Colleges are going to look at that whole package and see, okay, you have a 3.8 GPA, but you are doing so much in your community, you're giving back, you have this and that and that. So there's always going to be like a but to whatever there is. And colleges, again, are not just looking at academics, but also looking at what you can bring to the campus, to their campus. So just making sure you keep that in mind when you're applying, to really give yourself your all and really express yourself through your application. You have to know your major before applying to college. A lot of colleges do have you put a major in. However, they do also allow you to change your major throughout freshman year and possibly before like the beginning part of sophomore year. However, some colleges also allow you to apply undecided. So they do give you an option sometimes. So you don't always need to know your major before applying. Um, and there's a lot of college myths, but a lot of them are false. So yeah. And then last, I want to talk about AI use in college applications. I think AI can be a really good tool if used correctly. College Colleges are, when you're applying to a college, they really want to see who you are as a person. And so if you're using AI to kind of write your essay for you, that doesn't really allow the colleges to see who you are, to see your personality. And this is like your one-stop shop to kind of let the college get to know you, see your personality, see who you are. So I really advise to use AI if to like check, to like refine and perfect your writing. If you need to revise certain sections or get feedback or have a grammar check, use AI for that. Or even get like inspiration to how to start the essay. You have like that topic, but you don't know how to start it. You don't know how to grab your reader's attention. Use AI for that, but definitely don't use AI to just write the whole essay for you, because then that's taking away the purpose of even submitting an application at all, because the advisors are not able to get to know who you are as a person. They're reading what a bot wrote from the idea that you might have presented, but it's not from your personal language and your personal touch. It doesn't give your personality. And that's really what colleges are looking for when they're reading your essays. They want something to be unique and something to feel personal, like something that you can feel and that relates back to you. So making sure you just try to like write it as authentic and without AI use as much as possible. So now we're going to talk about what CPE is. So, firstly, I wanted to talk about this quote. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I really liked this quote because, again, it kind of relates back to mindset. Just keeping in mind throughout the whole college admissions process, throughout high school, throughout life, honestly, mindset is really important. If you have a bad mindset about something like, oh, I didn't get accepted into these colleges, but you did get accepted into this one, and you never know what could come out from being accepted into this one and not being accepted into this one. So making sure you just keep an open mindset and really try to stay positive. Like, oh, I may have gotten a B on this test. However, I was studying it's first of all, it's an AP course. Second of all, I'm doing so much other things outside of class. I really need to give myself more grace. And colleges do that. They look at your progression. They look, okay, you may have started off with a C first marking period or first semester, but by the end you ended with an A. And so colleges will see that growth and that perseverance, and they'll see that and they'll look at that and that will be considered, I guess, into your application. And they really advisors really like encourage you to push yourself and challenge yourself and continue to persevere and grow and not just hate on yourself because you didn't get the grade that you wanted the first time around. So CPE was created really to make the college process a lot easier for high school students and honestly even elementary students. And um, yeah, so we wanted to create this program to make the college process easier by giving students resources, by kind of educating students and kind of talking about what the college process really consists of and kind of how to prepare properly for it, like giving opportunities about scholarships, free tutoring, talking about FAFSA, etc. And so we really want to help students have a smooth and successful transition from high school to college life and stuff like that. So this is our evaluation timeline. So phase one, we want you to take the evaluation, and we really kind of took these questions that you'll see in our Google form soon from the common app, like the common app that you'll be filling out when you're applying to colleges. Um, so that's where we took it from. And then phase two is you'll receive a report card and a 4-year plan draft, which the report card is basically kind of using the information that you gave us, reporting back to you, okay, like this is where you are right now, and kind of giving you basically the information that you gave us back in a more um, organized and formatted way. And then we also give you a 4-year plan draft where we kind of lay everything out for you. You'll see it's kind of a lot to explain, but once I show, I think it'll be a lot easier to understand. And then we have your understand your gap and follow the plan so we can see that growth. So phase one, take the evaluation. So like I mentioned before, we have a Google form and the questions are basically literally the same when applying to colleges using Common App. And really, the only way that this really works is if you're honest, if you really take the time to put in the information the first time, so that way we can really help you. And so that way you can really see, okay, these are the areas that I need to work on. These are the areas that I need help with. And so really making sure that you take your time to provide accurate information is important. So like I said before, these are the questions that we took are specifically from Common App. And so these are the 5 different aspects that we're looking at that are basically asked of you when you're applying to colleges, either in your Common application or even in essays. And so we look at academic performance, we ask for your grades, type of school, test scores, etc. We look at school activities, so what clubs you've been a part of in school, any awards you've won, leadership positions you've had, anything that you've done outside of the classroom but in school. So clubs, sports, stuff like that. Extracurricular activities, anything you've done outside of school, any family responsibilities you have, jobs, whatnot. And then we look at competition results and special hobbies. And so just making sure again, you try to add everything that you can so that we can look and help you see, okay, you might need a little more extracurricular activities, or we want to help you get your SAT score up or ACT score up, stuff like that. So we can really help you to again become the best applicant that you can be. So this is an example of what the student information will kind of look like. or so this is kind of what we'll see or what you'll see as well. Everything kind of organized in a more organized way. So we can all kind of see, okay, like we have these strengths, but then we also have these weaknesses. So where are the areas of improvement that we can improve and later come back to and say, okay, we started off with you taking just regular classes, but now you're testing and challenging yourself and taking those AP classes. So really like to see that improvement and that growth, and we hope we can help you get there. And this is just another graph showing that. We use your report plan again to continue to help you grow and to improve the areas on where you might be struggling. And so this is just an example of growth over time. So as we can see, obviously these numbers are not accurate, but for example, in middle school, you might have a GPA of 5, but by the time you end ninth grade in high school, we have a GPA of 10, right? Stuff like that. So we do want to show you that growth and that progression over time and how making these little changes, testing yourself a little bit will help with that. Number three, we want to talk about what you can get from the CEP workshop. So we're gonna have these type of meetings, second Saturday of every month from 1 to 2 p.m. the same time each month. Um, Okay, well, I'll get back to your question in just a second when I go through the 4-year draft plan. Um, okay. Yeah, so we're gonna have these meetings every month, and the meetings again are gonna have we're gonna talk about different topics. Again, these meetings are really for you guys to understand the college admission process. So if there's any topics or any questions that you have about the college process and whatnot, we want to help you. So you can always reach out to me and just say, hey, I want to learn more about this topic. Can we talk about this next month? Stuff like that. We also really want to prioritize our CEP tool, so we'll have workshops about that. And we also have a Discord server, which I'll put in the chat in a second, where you guys can join, where you can ask questions, talk amongst yourselves, um, and stuff like that. Grow a community. So these are some of the topics that we'll talk about, but there's so many more topics that we'll also focus on, but these are just some of them. And this is kind of the big structure so that we hope to have throughout the meeting. So kind of like an icebreaker, fact of the month, presentation about the topic, a guest speaker from the students that I showed earlier, a fun game recapping kind of what we talked about, and then any announcements, updates we have, and then a closing question, and then we're done and we'll see you next month. Okay, so this is our Discord server, which I can put in the chat. Just give me 1 second. And then we also have hold on. CEP ThinkLand Classroom, which is where we'll have video recordings, announcements about meetings, additional resources for you guys. Give me 1 second. And stuff like that. So, but also let me know if making an actual Google Classroom would be easier for everyone instead of the ThinkLand, and I can do that as well. But the classroom will kind of be alongside with the Discord, where announcements will be posted, stuff like that. So just having access to both is beneficial. Okay, I put the Discord in the chat, and that's again where you can ask questions, have more easy access to mentors and CEP leads, or the CEP leads, and where you can share resources, experiences, stuff like that, and talk to other students in the program. So we also are going to be having a CEP tool workshop where we kind of talk specifically about our CEP tool, which is the evaluation. So this is kind of where we'll talk to you guys specifically on the tool and how you can use it. If you have any questions, filling it out, really help you understand your evaluation score and what it means, and help you like figure out, okay, like I have like a weak area in this, I have a weakness in this, so how can I really make this into an improvement and work on that? And so we'll help you like evaluate that score if needed. We'll help you come up with a plan on how you specifically can improve because everyone's score, everyone's way of improvement is going to be different. So if you need extra assistance or help trying to figure out how can I move forward using the information that you've given me, we're happy to help through this workshop here. And so now we're going to talk about our 4-year plan as well as the draft plan that you guys will each be receiving once you fill out the evaluation. So this is just a very overall summary, but I'll go in more depth of each one in a second. So ninth grade, we really want you to focus on exploring new things. 10th grade, this is obviously if you're in high school. If you're not in high school yet, you have a little bit more freedom and you actually kind of have a more of a head start. So that by the time you get to high school, these wouldn't really, they would still apply to you, but you kind of would have kind of fast tracked. So you would have a little bit more of a honed in, narrowed down selection. But this is kind of the overall goal here. So 10th grade, we want you to kind of narrow those things down, narrow those interests down to 1 to 2 things. 11th grade, we want you to deepen those connections, leadership, and 12th grade, you're submitting your applications. So, like I said, freshman year, we want you to explore new things. That means exploring your school, trying clubs, activities, sports, really getting into the community, learn the ropes, learn what you want to really focus on and hone in on. If you have an interest in civil engineering, look for a civil engineering club. Start your own civil engineering club if needed. Really get in there. This is the time to experiment, to really see what you might want to pursue, to really find your community within your high school to really help you in the future. Sophomore year, we want you to narrow that down to 1 to 2 things if you are doing so many things at once. So you've seen what works, you've seen what doesn't work. So now we want you to really pick, okay, do you want to continue doing that sport? Do you want to continue in this club? If not, don't. That's fine. Pick whatever you felt was really good for you and stop being a part of the rest. Continue building those connections with your teachers, challenge yourself, take those AP courses. I know, at least for my school, they don't allow students until to take an AP course until you're a junior. So if that's the case, then challenge yourself with an honors course. See how that feels for you and see, okay, do I really want to take an AP course or am I fine at the honors level? So really, sophomore year is really trying to again figure out where you stand, challenging yourself, and really again creating those deeper connections within the communities and groups that you've already started to build freshman year. Junior year, we want you to continue deepening those connections and looking for leadership opportunities. If you're playing a sport, try to run for captain of that sport. If you're in a club, run for president or run for an office for that club. If that's not you, that's fine. Again, also extracurriculars outside of school. Get yourself into something that you can really create a community within and really have an impact on. Junior year, start looking for colleges, prepare for the SAT. Sophomore year, you're probably going to take the PSAT. So that can kind of be a gauge for you to see, okay, like, do I want to take the SAT or do you want to switch to the ACT, which has a little bit more than the SAT, but is found to be easier depending on really your skill set and what you really want to do. So just figuring that out, preparing for that. And then senior year, you're really submitting those applications, preparing for interviews, filling out FAFSA, continuing the hard work in school, depending on whether or not your college is asking just for first and second semester grades or for everything. Um, so yeah, though that's kind of the overview, but obviously there's a little bit more in depth in that, but that's the overview of where we kind of want you to be. So this is just an example plan that I'm about to show you here of what you'll receive when you complete your evaluation, what you'll receive from us when you complete your evaluation. So this is just a sample plan of a student who they did their evaluation, they gave us all the information, and this is what they receive, what they'll will receive. So this is kind of the student information, student profile. It says their name, their current grade, their GPA, and the schools that they want to go to and their major. We have their strengths here and their weaknesses. So we just give a layout of all the information that you've given us, and we put it here. We can't help you if we don't know accurately, and if we don't accurately have an accurate representation of who you are. We just want to help you. So this is the, again, overview of our sample year Bill. So this is who we wanted him to kind of be. This is where we want, this is the potential that we want him, that we know he can get to, and this is how we're going to help him get there. So we see like his motivations and his interests, his activities and behavior patterns, what he's already done, what he can continue to do. And this is again his summary of the student information, everything, all the information that he gave us listed here again. Again, all of his information. And then as we continue to scroll down, we'll kind of see everything that what the colleges are looking for, right? So this is kind of where we start to really focus on the college and what he can continue to work on. So here we talk about how like academic readiness is really important, personal qualities and activities, and then institutional fit, right? So this is really where we see the evaluation order of the admissions advisors and what they're looking at. They're looking at, are you really ready to kind of come to college? Do your grades really fit with the grade level of our students that are already here? And then your personal qualities, can you make an impact in our community? And then really the final fit, can you really stand out and really make a huge impact in our community, and what can you really bring to our campus? So again, this is just a overview of pretty much who Bill is and where he is at this point in time. So now we really go into kind of what Bill can do. So his academic performance. So we talk about his current status, his impact on the application with his current status, but then how he can improve. So we see his GPA. He has a great GPA. To improve, right? To really get to where he wants to be, just maintaining those high grades and avoid falling behind in classes, stuff like that. So we really give you where you are now, how that will impact your application, and then what you can do to improve. And we do that for each section of the Common App. So academic performance, achievements and awards, personal quality, integrated package. We're putting everything together. So here we see his application, right? Engineering orientation is clear, but materials are not systemic. How will that impact? And future improvement, or no strong recommender for recommendation letters. So now we have to kind of see, okay, we need to find we need a teacher that can write a rec letter or a resume. You need to work on your resume, add all those things. Like we know you have them, but you just need to add them to your resume or your essay. The materials are scattered and lack a main narrative thread. So we want you to really focus and hone in on all of these things, and we're here to help you by giving you where you are now and how we can help you improve to kind of get to that improvement, that place of where you want to be. And so this is what you're going to receive. And then we go even further beyond just colleges and what the colleges are looking for and that college application. We go into what you can do with that career path. So you want to be in AI and robotics. This is a career path for what you can do. Direction, we have here the job title, the core skills that that job will be looking for, and why it would suit you, and then additional resources here for that job. We have the target schools, some of the schools that you might have put in, and some additional schools that we used that we see, okay, you want to go into robotics. These are some of the really good schools for you to go into, also based on your grade level. So we have reaches here, we have matches, and yeah. And again, resources at the bottom. And then we lay out for each college that we added here why it would be good and what's required of you for each one. So for example, here, Carnegie Mellon University, that was a reach for Bill here. And it's a difficult, so we have the difficulty here, reach. And the GPA 4.0 plus, you need a SAT score of this, AP score of 8 to 12, admission rate 11%, so it's lower for robotics, we write here. Required coursework, so we give you all the information that you really could need on the colleges that you want to go to, on what you can improve on and how you can improve on it. And obviously, if you need more help and need additional resources than what we already have here, you can always ask us and we're always happy to help. But this is the baseline of what you get, and we can help you continue to build required coursework, activity preferences, the essays, how it will fit you, if it's a good fit or not. And we do that for each college, really showcasing, okay, this is a match because you need a 3.9 GPA, you have 23% admission rate, whatever, right? So we give you all the information for each college and we really lay out all the information for you to really make it easy. And then talk about the application preparation. So what you can really start doing to prepare for applying. So here we just say Bill already has a 4.0 GPA, so really just maintaining that GPA is essential for him here. Really trying to get into more of those AP courses, challenging himself, and we talk about why it's important. Obviously, all of these are just suggestions. We're not asking you to take all of these courses and to take all of these considerations and to do all of this because this is not really humanly possible to really put yourself through all of that stress with all of these courses. It's a lot of information to take in. We're just saying to use this as kind of like a guide and a baseline to really say, okay, this is where I kind of want to get to, and this is kind of some of the things that I kind of need to do. If that makes sense. Um, and it kind of helps you see if you can really truly get to the target schools that you want to get to and how much work and what it will take to really get there. We lay it all out for you. Um, and yeah, so we just give again extra information, achievements and awards, what you can do, academic competitions, engineering robotics projects, right? Um, and we give some examples, some ideas on what you can do there. So this is kind of what you would get um, from us, and hopefully just giving you basically like an overview. Here we give some ideas for essays that you can write for your college essay. For your college essay. So yeah, there are a lot of great tools that we provide for you here, and then this is just like the whole entire timeline, right? So grade 10 overall planning timeline. This is what we kind of suggest, or this is like the draft plan that we would have for you. Say, okay, then from September to December, focus on these things. January to March, focus on this. So stuff like that. And that's for each year. So you're in 10th grade, grade 10 to 11 to 12. So, and each person's obviously going to be individual. So I mean, at a different place. So each person's is going to look different, but this is just an example of kind of what you get. Get it's a lot of information, but hopefully it can be helpful to even at least see everything in one place to see, okay, like I want to go to Princeton University, but this is where I am now, and this is how a possible way for me to get there. And this is all that it's going to really take me to get there. um, Give me one second. I'll answer questions in just a moment here. I just want to give a little information about AiGoLearning, and then I will go to the questions. Um, so AiGoLearning overall is just a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to educating children through our Teens Teach Teens initiative. We provide a lot of different courses, um, and various different subjects. And this is just one of the programs that we run. We run a lot of other programs here at AiGoLearning as well. And so our main goal really is to give back to the community and help kids get to where they need to go. And so yeah. So now I'm gonna answer some questions. I know there were some questions in the chat. If anyone else has any other questions, let me know. Um, do you recommend any goals, focus areas, or preparation for middle schoolers from 6th to 8th grade? Um, Honestly, I feel like middle school, you can really start to get into so figure out like your interest, where you want to like what you might want to major in, but not you don't need to pick a major, but kind of figure out your interest, like if you're interested in drawing or engineering or computers and stuff like that. So really figure that out and then try to get involved with your school if there's any clubs or any outside extracurriculars. So really like start doing that in middle school So then it becomes a little bit easier in high school to know, okay, I know I want to do this, but I can still try other things out because high school has a lot more freedom than middle school does. So I guess really starting to kind of figure out where you want to your interest. But again, it would be kind of different for each student. So I guess we kind of need to talk to the student specifically to really help them um, figure out what the best plan would be for the student. Yeah, we'll have the slideshow posted in the Discord or the Think Tank classroom. Does anyone want to add anything? Okay, well, if no one has any other questions, thank you all so much for joining our CP workshop. We hope that you'll continue in the program and we hope that this was helpful and at least learning a little bit more about it. Thank you, Daniel, also for coming. If anyone has any questions for Daniel before he leaves. No, so these workshops are completely free, including the evaluations and including taking the evaluations as well as the plan draft that we give you. That's all completely free. So there's no fee needed or no payment. So everything is free. So yeah, if you have any specific questions on you specifically or your child specifically, feel free to ask. But if not, thank you so much everyone for joining our workshop today, and we hope to see you in that Discord server and see you next month. The meeting, I believe, will be on give me a second. The second, so I think it would be on April 11th. I think oh the third. Okay. So April 18th. Yes, I believe it's the same link. And we'll also again put this all in the Discord server. So all this information, meeting date will be in the Discord server. You'll know when the meetings are. We'll also give the link. So yeah. Does anyone have any other questions that's still on this Zoom meeting?
All right. I mean, thank you, Gabby, for inviting me. I mean, letting me speak here. I think that's it, right?
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. It was really
Yeah.
great to have you and hear your story.
No problem.
Bye.
All right. Yeah. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Okay. Alberto, do you have a question? Or okay, I don't think you have a question. Okay, I'm just gonna end the meeting. Bye, guys.